Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Khanna of California. Congressman, obviously you don't represent Southern California. You're up in Northern California, but there's been a lot of scorn directed at all the residents of your state, and an idea that if the state wants disaster relief, it's going to have to make change to its policies. And we'll see if we can get around to it. What do you think as a Californian, as someone who represents Californians?
Well, first of all, Chris, thank you for actually talking about facts in your monologue. I'm glad that still matters. I mean, the reality is the Democrats were the ones begging for the $100 billion of disaster relief for Georgia, North Carolina, and those who were hit by those disasters. And it was the Republicans who weren't willing to move on that. It was Hakeem Jeffries who was pushing that, saying, how can we leave folks stranded? And, you know, we had a California delegation meeting, and confidentially, I won't say who, one person stood up and said, well, maybe if they are going to make aid conditional here, we should say we aren't going to vote for aid there. And immediately, everyone in the delegation said, absolutely not. We aren't going to make this political. We are going to support aid. And so it's just awful what's going on. I mean, never have we politicized disasters in America.
You are also a representative from Silicon Valley. And I'm just so curious. So I had Lloyd Doggett, who voted for the TikTok legislation. I think you have a different view on this legislation. But since I have you here, and because your district is implicated in this, what do you make of where we've ended up and how Donald Trump is going to essentially, I guess, like unilaterally decide based on who shows him the most goodies or favor?
Well, look, I oppose the TikTok ban. I always have with Senator Markey, and here's why. I mean, the app was a vehicle for the free speech of a lot of folks, and in my view, it came under criticism during the Gaza war, and there were a lot of people saying things critical of that war. But the reality is, I just had a call today with 50 content creators. There's a woman, Cassie, who talked about her husband cheated on her. She left. 4 kids, 2 under the 2 toddlers, and she relies on this to make a living. And there are millions of people like her are going to be shut down if this app closes. So our party, President Biden, should put a pause on this, and we shouldn't be the party that's shutting this down.
Well, it looks like there is going to be a pause on it. What do you make of someone who represents Silicon Valley? What do you make of what we are seeing in the flocking of tech billionaires to Trump, the who's who that will be standing up at the inauguration? I mean, this doesn't happen with every inauguration. There's a statement being made here. It hasn't been made before. Musk's role seems entirely singular. Some of these folks are your constituents, I think. You know these people, I think, pretty well. How do you understand what's going on?
Well, I don't like it. I think some of it is capitulation, fear. They think, well, I don't want to get in the way of Donald Trump and be in his crosshairs. Some of it happened in 2016, but it's happening a lot more now. Some of it is what happened in the age from 1870 to 1900, where you had the robber barons and big industry, and now you got people who have got a lot of money who are pouring that into Congress. I mean, there's substantive issues that we can discuss, but that's not what's going on here. There is a bowing to power, and that's not all of Silicon Valley. Look, I won my district by 35 points. There's still a lot of people in the Valley who support immigration, pluralism, climate change, Kamala Harris, but I don't like the fact of what's going on.
There's a lot of news sort of coming down the pike about what's going to happen next week, including large-scale immigration raids, since you just mentioned them, possibly in major American cities. We have some reporting this might happen in Chicago. You represent a district that has a lot of people who've come here for a bunch of different reasons. And I'm curious of what your posture is towards what we're likely to see next week and how you're preparing and how Democrats are preparing for it.
First of all, the Democrats should stand as the party that still supports the role of immigrants in America. I mean, I voted against the Laken-Riley Act because what that act would have done is said we can deport people if a sheriff says they've done something wrong without even giving them a trial. I mean, we gave the Nazis trials before having convictions. We need to stand for the rule of law, and we need to talk about who a lot of these undocumented people are. I'll just tell you one story of an undocumented woman in my district. Her daughter is studying studying to be a doctor. She's been in the country 25 years. She's underpaid as a dental hygienist. She drives down to Southern California and back the same day because she can't afford a hotel. And we're going to have raids on her. I mean, what are we thinking? And the Democrats need a spine to talk about being a party which recognizes that immigrants, like my parents, like many others, have contributed to this country and created jobs and build to the contributions of America, not detract from it.
Right now, the House leadership, Republican House leadership, is working on their one big, beautiful bill. I'm already seeing some things leak out about it, and it really does seem like they are going to balance the budget on the backs of all the people that you would expect.
You're absolutely right. I mean, it's tax breaks for the very wealthy. Guess what? Who's going to get them? The billionaires and millionaires in my district. So much for the heartland. So much for rural America. I mean, if you want to help Silicon Valley, you like the bill. But nothing to raise the wage. Nothing, by the way, to increase the corporate tax rate in Mexico or other parts of the world so that we're not offshoring jobs. They're talking about cuts to the Department of Education, cuts in the Republican budgets to Medicare and Social Security. This is why I'm optimistic about the Democratic Party coming back in 2026. I think their agenda is just a radical agenda.